the ocean race. The toughest event in team sport. A brutal 7-leg, 60,000-kilometre journey across the globe.
The ocean race is another level.
The ocean race is the pinnacle of crewed offshore sailing.
There's this element to the ocean race that's also about survival.
It's a big, big roller coaster of emotions.
A leap into the unknown.
5 teams battling it out to be the fastest around the world. 11th Hour Racing Team, Team Malizia, Biotherm, Guyot Environment Team Europe, Team Holcim-PRB. And now the race has begun. Who will prevail in the race from Alicante to Cabo Verde? As the ocean race celebrates its 50th Jubilee anniversary, a fleet consisting of 5 IMOCAs and the best sailors in the world prepare to set off from Alicante in Spain on what is widely considered to be the toughest test of a team in sport.
Dockout's an emotional day, for sure, on a host of levels. You know, personally, you're leaving family behind. You know, that's a big one. Particularly the first leg, it's a culmination of everything you've been working toward for, you know, in some ways 3 years, in some ways better part of a decade. So it's definitely an emotional day, but you know, it's still just a day.
The port is a hive of activity, and as Dockout arrives, spirits are high, and the teams are raring to go for their worldwide journey on the IMOCAs.
This leg is to build the crew. It's to grow together, to learn how to sail together, and I'm pretty sure with the talented and experienced people we've got on board, if we manage to do that, we'll be ahead.
Yes, thanks a lot, and see you in Cabo Verde.
Final approach into the line. 11th Hour Racing Team having to put on the brakes, and it's Biotherm with the best start and racing right over the top of the Americans.
As the racing officially gets underway, it's Biotherm who make the strongest start of any of the teams.
Little more main bend.
Meanwhile, Guyot Environment Team Europe almost immediately encounter some issues that cost them time, with a twist in their Code Zero sail, meaning they have to bear off in order to unwrap it.
Yeah, just going to look back today, but yeah.
Leg 1 and the race around the world has only just begun. 1,900 miles to go for Cabo Verde, and 5 points for the winner. Paul Mayer in the lead, but the question is, for how long?
After setting off from Alicante, the boats navigate their way through the Mediterranean and down to the potentially tricky section of the Alboran Sea, followed by the Gibraltar Straits, making sure to avoid the designated red exclusion zones along the way. Next, they head out into the Atlantic and go south, passing by the Canary Islands en route to their destination. With Cabo Verde lying in the strong and reliable northeast trade winds, the teams are likely to find themselves in a quick sprint to the finish line. Whoever reaches the trade winds first will be putting themselves in pole position for winning the first leg. As the boats head out onto the Mediterranean, Guyot Environment Team Europe succeed in making up some of the time lost with their poor start. And as the sun sets on the first day of sailing, smooth waters and some visits from local wildlife make for a pleasant start to racing. The mood on board is far from relaxed, however, with everyone well aware that tougher times are just around the corner.
So I think so far it's been a pretty tiring night. I think we've done about 10 different sail changes, and it's basically been inshore racing but all overnight, and now we're kind of somewhere in the top 3, but everyone's super close, and we've got a final transition around the south east corner of Spain, and basically whoever gets through that first, they'll get the new wind, and then they might get a little jump on everyone. So we've got to try push for a few more hours, see if we can get into this new wind, and then that might give us a little advantage going up towards Gibraltar. You can feel the swell starting to roll in, and then that's kind of telling you that the bigger wind's going to come. So yeah, not long now.
With potential trouble not far away, Team Holcim-PRB are forced into making some early repairs on the go.
We noticed that the autopilot was struggling, and checked over the back of the rudder and realised that the quadrant has moved up on the stop of the rudder shaft. So yeah, we'll put the other rudder down as a safety, and Super Kevin is currently fixing it.
And as predicted, it isn't long before the boats hit rougher seas.
Suntime's been going like 28 knots. The worst waves I think I've ever been in.
As day 2 dawns after a rough night, living conditions on board are tough, and seasickness tablets are a necessity.
I went through one package. I don't need it anymore now. Well, fingers crossed, but let's enjoy the moment. Some pasta carbonara. Well,
You feel like you earned it?
yeah, you. Are you okay?
Yeah.
With Holcim-PRB and 11th Hour Racing Team leading the way, the racing begins in earnest as the teams pass through the Alboran Sea and approach the Straits of Gibraltar.
It's been a pretty brutal start to the leg, to be honest. And we got a good few hours of tacking up through Gibraltar against the current to contend with. So when we finally get on to starboard and start heading offshore, I'm sure everyone's going to be very happy. Yeah, the horror show that was the Alboran Sea is almost behind us.
An almighty tacking duel ensues between Holcim-PRB and 11th Hour Racing Team as they pass through the Straits of Gibraltar and head west towards the Atlantic, each tack bringing the risk of damage to the Amoccas. Eventually, the crucial move happens in the early hours of the morning, with Holcim-PRB tacking onto starboard first, with a slight shift in the wind towards the north, giving them a small but significant advantage over their rivals. The battle is not without its casualties, however, with 11th Hour Racing Team suffering a dramatic tear in their J3 sail.
Ripping more now. What do you think about it?
I think if we don't shoot anymore, it might be alright for a little while. But...
It's split in two.
Yeah,
For Cabo Verde.
we had 45 touching 50 knots and had to tack, having trouble tacking. Back to jib, J3. Got caught on the radar and it tore in half. And there's maybe a split-second opportunity where we could have gotten it down and had it in a better place to repair it, but didn't do that, which is also probably stupid. And now we're in a place where it's unusable for the rest of this leg, and I don't know how to fix it on board in Cabo Verde. So we have the storm jib up now, just trying to stay in touch with the whole team here, which we're actually doing a reasonable job of. And you know, it won't hurt us as much when we're using it as the stations we get at Gibraltar, but we only have one of them, and we're gonna have to figure something out.
Leaders Holcim-PRB also experienced damage in the rough conditions, having to patch up a significant hole in their main sail.
This morning, daylight, we noticed a tear in the main pretty bad near the area. The only thing we can think of is that it's happened during attack and the jib flogged onto it. So we slowed the boat and we're going to make our best efforts to fix it.
So with running repairs complete, racing between the two teams vying for top spot resumes in earnest, with plenty of opportunity for lost time to be made up in the run towards Cabo Verde. It's time for the teams to hit the highway south. As the teams make their way through the Straits of Gibraltar and out onto the Atlantic Ocean, it's Holcim-PRB in the lead with 11th Hour Racing Team in close pursuit. Behind them is Team Milizia, Biotherm in fourth, with Guio Environment Team Europe bringing up the rear. Like most teams, their progress is hampered by damage done during the punishing early stages of the leg.
It's just down here.
We've had a kind of series of things happen, but fundamentally now we've had to just really slow down and protect the main, because we discovered that we had 2 broken battens, and we also have a hole in the main, and this is our race main. So yeah, we had to take the decision to slow down today, and we're trying to replacing the battens right now, and we're going to replace the hole in a minute, hopefully before it gets dark, and then we can go fast again.
Yes, we used a big patch. We used some kind of sterile stripes to put it back together, and then a big patch over the top. I think we did a very good job. It was a bit tricky, but I think, yeah, great teamwork, and I'm happy with the results so far.
With repair to the mainsail complete, but the boat still lagging behind the rest of the pack, Guio Environment Team Europe decide to take a different approach to the rest of the teams, opting for a route east around the Canary Islands in the hope they can make up some of their lost time.
The idea is to cross the island near to Fuerteventura, between Fuerteventura and Gran Canaria. Because we can find probably a big wind shadow behind this boss island. And the idea, it's the next option is to come here with the left at the end. So yes, we'll try to cut the cheese.
We just went 33 knots. Sometimes we accelerate to 33 knots and then decelerate to about 20. And now I've got to get boiling hot water into here without burning us. Wish me luck, Charles. Wish me luck.
As the teams pass around the Canary Islands and onto the route to Cabo Verde, dubbed the Highway South, they begin to pick up some impressive speeds, with leaders Team Holcim-PRB covering 520 nautical miles in a 24-hour period.
We are still ahead, and now the next we need to decide. We need to decide which sail we put. 11 hours, the closest boat. But no, very happy with the speed of the boat, very happy with the crew, very happy of where we are, even if it's definitely not finished. There is still plenty to come, so it's quite a good start.
We had a few issues earlier, but now they're manageable, so it's pretty perfect. And yeah, enjoying the highway south, to be honest. Pretty nice.
Morning we were only doing 16. We were like that. But now he's 24 miles and he was 28 before. Yeah. But I mean that's great news. Exactly. So I think do nothing.
Yeah. So we're on our long haul south now. Got a good bit of straight line sailing, and we just kind of sort of strategize the best way to try and gain on our opposition. Holcim, they were 30 miles ahead, closed them down to 24. The wind's forecast to get lighter and head, which might put us on a different sail. But obviously sail changes are expensive. We're rumbling along now at 29 knots, and we got to slow down to maybe 15 knots to change. So if we've got to change, slow down, change, sail for a bit, and then slow down again and change back, it gets pretty costly. So yeah, as long as we're going as fast on course with this sail, it's all good.
As they approach Cabo Verde, Kevin Escoffier and his team seem to sail just that bit lower, faster and closer to Mindelo than their closest rivals, 11th Hour Racing Team. Speculation is rife that it's their foil setup and how they use them. But that remains a closely guarded secret. With Holcim-PRB pulling away at the front, the battle was now on for who would finish behind them, with Team Milizia gaining time on 11th Hour Racing Team.
So we are only 9 miles behind 11th Hour.
Yeah, it's pretty good, huh?
We're going 2 knots faster.
Yes, and the last 24 hours we do 1.5 knots faster than 11th Hour and Holcim. I think we continue like we do. We're sailing quite well, and we should not get too stressed and break many things on the boat. But I think we're doing well.
Approximately 8 to 10 hours behind the leading 3 teams, it was Biotherm and Guio Environment Team Europe in 4th and 5th place respectively, with Paul Mayer's team holding their inside track advantage.
Bon, bravo les gars, les filles. Abby. Well done. Well done. That's good.
After 5 days and 11 hours at sea, Team Holcim-PRB are the first to arrive in Cabo Verde, just after 2 a.m.
We've sailed like we know to do it. I wouldn't say simple, but because it was not, definitely not simple. We had a start that was a great one, I think. I hope for all people that were watching it. And then Mediterranean Sea, that was pretty tough. We managed to get out without too many issues. A few, I'm pretty sure that all boats had their issues, and then we've been sailing steady. We've been pushing when we were able. I think we had the speed. We haven't done that many mistakes. I'm very happy about the boat. Very happy about the crew, because it was only the second time. The first one was the in-post race, then the practice race, and then it was the big leg one. So very happy about the crew.
There followed 2 hours and 50 minutes later by their closest rivals, 11th Hour Racing Team.
We broke the sail. We had another 200 miles to go, beating up wind. I mean, we were in the lead when it happened. Certainly didn't get here first. Was that the difference? Probably not. There's a lot of other things, but they all build on each other. We had other failures that never would have happened if the first one hadn't happened. It's never the first thing, it's the second, it's the third. It's kind of a snowball. We'll figure out how to deal with it, certainly. And like I said, I don't think it was the difference in this leg, and I don't think it's going to be the difference moving forward. So it's all about how we adjust to what we learned in the last 5 days and, best prepare ourselves for the future legs.
As the sun rises over Cabo Verde, Team Milizia arrive in 3rd place, 2 hours and 45 minutes behind 11th Hour Racing Team.
I'm super happy with the performance of the boat and the team. We got very well through this tough Gibraltar Strait moment with the storm drip, which is very rare on these boats, to put the red fluorescent storm drip up. It was actually the first time for me since more than 10 years, I think. And the boat did well, and no breakages, and we found some good speed and caught up with the 2 leaders, so the adventure starts very well.
With the time approaching midnight, Biotherm make their arrival in Cabo Verde, followed at 2:20 a.m. by the last place team, Guio Environment Team Europe.
That was the first time we were all the crew on board on Biotherm, which I tried to take care of my crew first and on my boat second. And I think, we success because no big damage. We are here, so happy, and let's go for the next.
I was a little bit angry because I don't like to be the last boat with a lot of miles behind the first. But for sure, it's a beginning for the team. We have learned a lot. It's the first time for everybody to have this condition, not me, but the others in this condition in Mediterranean Sea. We learned the boat in this condition too, so it's a lot of learning time. We have do a great team job to repair the battens, to repair the boat, and we have never stopped to push and to try to coming back. But the fleet is very strong, and we are here for that. But yeah, a little bit disappointed, but for sure I want to be sure the boat is ready for Sébastien and Anne-Claire who come in for the second leg.
So, as predicted, the first team to hit the trade winds managed to capitalise on their early advantage, meaning that Team Holcim-PRB took first place, with 11th Hour Racing Team in second, Team Milizia third, Biotherm fourth, and Grio Environment Team Europe in fifth. With an unusually brutal leg one completed, the teams might have hoped for some much-needed rest. However, with race rules designating this as a pit stop, every spare minute is spent making repairs to the battered boats, trying to ensure they're in good shape for the next leg of the journey. With not long to go, the team switched their focus to the trip to Cape Town and the notorious doldrum section of the race.
Cape Town is the completion of the Atlantic, and it's the gateway to the south. I can't imagine a race without it.
It seems that the wind will be very light at the start. We have to sail well, as we do all the time, but there is a long, long race in front of us, and we have to focus on leg two. We're going to push the boat a little bit more, and probably, we expect a better place.
The important with the doldrums is you have to manage your emotions very well. You know, in 1 hour you can be catching up 50 miles on your competitors, and then the next they've sailed 100 miles away from you.
It's going to be very warm. We have a black ship. It's brutal. It's like a sauna. So it's going to be challenging leg.
I don't know what's the welcoming in Cape Town, because it will be my first time in Cape Town. So for us, every step is the first time.
One leg completed, but the journey has only just begun. The ocean race continues.